Welcome. Today we're diving into the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016, commonly known as IBC. This landmark law was introduced to streamline and simplify the process of insolvency and bankruptcy in India. Before IBC, resolving insolvency was a long, complicated process, often involving multiple laws and authorities. The government brought in IBC as part of its broader reforms to improve the ease of doing business in India, not just by making it easier to start and run businesses, but also by making exits more efficient. Let's explore how IBC transformed the landscape. Journey of IBC began in December 2015 when it was introduced in the Lok Sabha. It quickly gained momentum, passing through both houses of parliament in May 2016 and receiving the president's assent later that month. Some provisions came into force in August 2016, and the code has seen several amendments up to June 2020. The IBC was designed as a one-stop solution, consolidating all existing insolvency laws into a single, comprehensive framework. This was a game changer for India's economic and legal environment. IBC applies to a wide range of entities, including companies registered under the Companies Act, limited liability partnerships, partnership firms, and even individuals. This broad scope ensures that almost all business forms in India are covered under a unified insolvency framework. Whether you're a financial creditor or an operational creditor, if a debtor defaults on repayment, you can initiate insolvency proceedings under the IBC. This inclusivity is one of the code's major strengths. Under IBC, any financial or operational creditor can initiate the corporate insolvency process if a debtor defaults on repayment. Default here means non-repayment of a debt when it's due and payable. This provision empowers creditors, ensuring that their interests are protected and giving them a clear legal route to recover dues. The process is designed to be fair and transparent, with strict timelines for each stage. One of the standout features of IBC is its strict time frame for every step in the resolution process. From the admission of an application to the appointment of an interim resolution professional, lodging of claims, formation of the creditors' committee, and approval of the resolution plan, every stage is time-bound. This ensures that cases don't drag on for years, as was common before IBC. The aim is to resolve insolvency quickly and efficiently. IBC recognizes two main categories of creditors: financial creditors and operational creditors. Financial creditors are typically banks and financial institutions, while operational creditors are those to whom the company owes money for goods or services. This distinction helps in streamlining the resolution process and ensures that all stakeholders have a voice in the proceedings. IBC is a comprehensive law, consisting of 255 sections and 11 schedules. It's divided into four main parts: preliminary, insolvency resolution and liquidation of corporate persons, insolvency resolution and liquidation of individuals and partnership firms, and regulation of insolvency professionals, agencies, and information utilities. This structure ensures that every aspect of insolvency and bankruptcy is covered in detail. According to the National Company Law Tribunal (NCLT), as of September 2019, nearly 19,771 cases were pending, with over 10,860 cases under IBC. This shows the significant role IBC plays in resolving insolvency cases in India. The code has not only streamlined the process, but also increased accountability and transparency in the system. IBC is considered one of the biggest reforms in India's economic history. It was enacted to reorganize and resolve insolvency for companies, partnerships, and individuals in a time-bound manner. The code has changed the debtor-creditor relationship, making it easier for creditors to recover dues and for companies to resolve their financial issues efficiently. One of the main reasons for introducing IBC was to tackle the growing problem of bad loans in the banking system. The code provides a structured process for resolving claims involving insolvent companies. In just 2 years, IBC has succeeded in preventing many corporates from defaulting on their loans and has resolved several major cases. Corporate Insolvency Resolution Process (CIRP) can be initiated by the corporate debtor itself, a financial creditor, or an operational creditor. However, the code does not specify a time frame for when CIRP must be filed. This flexibility allows stakeholders to assess their situation before taking action, but it also means timely action is crucial. Several landmark Supreme Court cases have shaped the interpretation and application of IBC. These cases help clarify whether the code has been beneficial or detrimental to corporate dealings. They also highlight how the power dynamics have shifted, giving creditors more authority to initiate liquidation if a debtor defaults. For IBC, there was no single law dealing with insolvency and bankruptcy in India. The process was governed by around 12 different acts, leading to overlapping jurisdictions and confusion. Authorities like the High Court, Company Law Board, and Debt Recovery Tribunal often had conflicting roles, making insolvency resolution cumbersome and time-consuming. Some of the laws that previously governed insolvency included the Presidency Towns Insolvency Act, the Provincial Insolvency Act, the Sikh Industrial Companies Act, the SARFAESI Act, the Companies Act 2013, and the Recovery of Debts Due to Banks and Financial Institutions Act. This patchwork of laws made it difficult to resolve insolvency efficiently. With so many laws in play, different authorities often had overlapping powers. This led to delays, confusion, and sometimes conflicting decisions. The IBC was introduced to bring all insolvency matters under one roof, making the process more straightforward and efficient. According to World Bank data, it used to take an average of 4.3 years to wind up a company in India. starting a business was much easier than exiting one. The IBC aims to cut this time down to just 1 year, making it much easier for businesses to exit when necessary. The new code helps banks and other creditors recover their loans from bankrupt companies in a timely and efficient way. By streamlining the process and reducing delays, IBC ensures that creditors have a better chance of getting their money back. Main objectives of IBC are to consolidate and amend all existing insolvency laws, simplify and expedite proceedings, protect the interests of creditors, revive companies in a time-bound manner, promote entrepreneurship, and maximize the value of assets. The code also aims to set up an Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India to oversee the process. Key feature of IBC is its focus on time-bound resolution. Creditors gain control over the debtor's assets and must make decisions within 180 days. During this period, debtors are protected from other claims, ensuring an uninterrupted resolution process. This helps both creditors and debtors find a solution quickly. IBC consolidates all provisions of the current legislative framework to create a common forum for debtors and creditors of all classes. This means everyone involved in the insolvency process comes together under one roof, making it easier to resolve issues and reach agreements. Under IBC, both debtors and creditors can initiate recovery proceedings against each other. This balanced approach ensures that the process is fair and that both sides have the opportunity to protect their interests. One of the objectives of IBC is to set up the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. This board is responsible for regulating insolvency professionals, agencies, and information utilities, ensuring that the process is conducted smoothly and transparently. A core aim of IBC is to maximize the value of assets of corporate persons. By resolving insolvency quickly and efficiently, the code helps preserve and enhance the value of assets, benefiting both creditors and debtors. Lenders benefit greatly from IBC. They have more control over decision-making and the process is time-bound and quick, especially for stressed and non-performing accounts. The code also allows for a change of management if necessary and brings all financial lenders onto a single platform for faster consensus. Resolution plans are prepared and examined by professionals appointed by creditors, ensuring fearless and objective decision-making. The final approval comes from the NCLT, a legal entity that ensures accountability and vigilance throughout the process. IBC ensures a fair and transparent distribution of funds in case of liquidation. Government or statutory dues do not get priority, which means all stakeholders are treated equitably. This clarity helps build trust in the system. The code also protects the assets of secured borrowers, ensuring that the realization of assets is maximized. This protection encourages more lending and investment, knowing that there are clear rules in place. IBC has received positive support from the government, especially in the realization and resolution of non-performing assets (NPAs). This backing has helped strengthen the code's implementation and effectiveness. Borrowers also benefit from approaching the NCLT under IBC. There's no need to pay court fees, which are typically 5% or more in regular courts. The process is faster and there are fewer chances for settlements at lower amounts, ensuring fairness for all parties. The National Company Law Tribunal (NCLT) plays a central role in the IBC process. Unlike regular courts, NCLT focuses on insolvency resolution, not just recovery of money. This specialization helps speed up the process and ensures that cases are handled by experts. IBC provides a time-bound resolution process, forcing lenders to take decisive action. Once a resolution plan is approved by NCLT, it has legal sanction and is binding on all stakeholders. This ensures that everyone is on the same page and the process moves forward smoothly. The entire process under IBC is transparent and under judicial supervision. This removes the fear of investigation or vigilance from the lender's perspective, making decision-making easier and more confident. During the moratorium period, all creditors, legal cases, and other recovery actions are put on hold. This gives the company breathing space to work out a resolution plan without external pressures, increasing the chances of successful revival. IBC allows not just loans but all types of debt, including operational creditors and government dues, to be restructured, realigned, or even reduced. This flexibility helps companies get back on their feet and protects the interests of all stakeholders. Borrowers have the option to apply for insolvency themselves under the code. In such cases, the borrower's proposed insolvency professional (IP) is appointed as the interim resolution professional (IRP), giving them some control over the process. Once the process starts, the company operates under the control of the IRP or resolution professional (RP), who is responsible for preserving the economic value of the company as a going concern. This ensures that the business can continue operating while a resolution is worked out. IBC can be used as a measure of last resort, especially when other options like corporate debt restructuring, CDR, strategic debt restructuring, SDR, or scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets, S4A, have been exhausted. This makes it a powerful tool for businesses in distress. IBC makes it easier to attract investors, whether financial, strategic, or joint venture partners, especially for unlisted companies. The structured and transparent process gives investors confidence that their interests will be protected. During the insolvency process, companies can raise additional finance, which will have priority as part of the CIRP cost. This provision helps companies continue operations and increases the chances of successful resolution. Let's clarify some important definitions. Insolvency is a state where an individual's or organization's liabilities exceed their assets and they are unable to raise enough cash to meet their obligations as they become due. In simple terms, it's the inability to pay bills on time. It's important to distinguish between insolvency and bankruptcy. Insolvency is the financial state of being unable to pay debts, while bankruptcy is a legal declaration of insolvency. Bankruptcy is the formal process that follows when insolvency cannot be resolved. IBC is divided into four main parts: preliminary, insolvency resolution and liquidation of corporate persons, insolvency resolution and liquidation of individuals and partnership firms, and regulation of insolvency professionals, agencies, and information utilities. This structure ensures comprehensive coverage of all aspects of insolvency. As of September 2019, the NCLT was handling nearly 20,000 cases, with more than half under IBC. This highlights the code's importance in India's legal and business landscape and its role in resolving complex insolvency cases. Since its introduction, IBC has been amended several times to address new challenges and improve its effectiveness. These amendments ensure that the code remains relevant and continues to serve the needs of India's dynamic economy. Summary: the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016, has revolutionized the way insolvency is handled in India. By consolidating multiple laws, introducing strict timelines, and creating a fair, transparent process, IBC has made it easier for businesses to resolve financial distress and for creditors to recover dues. Its impact on India's business environment is profound, making it a true game changer.